Hi everyone, my name is Laura Newitt and I work in the Civil Aerospace HR team. I'm joined today by Mohamed and Sara, who are here with me to share their thoughts and insights when it comes to career development within the cost team. Now, we're recording this podcast as a piece of work that we're doing within the cost team looking at career development, and it's the first time that we've done it and we're doing it live, so please bear with us if there's a few hiccups along the way, but hope that you enjoy it nonetheless. So firstly then, quick introductions. If we start with Sara then, where do you work and can you share one thing about yourself, whether in work or outside, that people might not necessarily know about you?
So hello everybody. So as I've been introduced, I'm Sara Núñez and I work within cost in the Cost and Value Engineering Department, also known as CAVE. And within that I'm aligned to the capability and systems. So we develop tools and methods to provide cost insight to the wider organization. So pretty much my main customers are the value engineers, but also designers and manufacturing engineers and all that. And something that maybe some people don't know about me is that I really enjoy playing the piano, and I have just registered to a musical, so I might be on a show at some point.
Woohoo. We keep our fingers crossed for you. Thank you.
And it's Mohamed. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Sara. I work as a value engineer lead for compressors, where we actually look at all the different parts across all the different engines. We try to assess the costs for each part individually. And as maybe my colleague Sara said, we have various different types of customers. We support them from designer to sourcing to manufacturing engineering. Something about myself, that's a bit tricky. Well, I do have many different hobbies outside of work, but I do really enjoy go by the seaside. That's where I am if I disappear from work.
Thank you. Right, so I said we're here to talk about career development, and there's been a lot of discussion recently about how the concept of career is changing. And previously, when we've talked about careers, we've sort of meant this idea of moving up in an organisation, and a bit similar to the ladder analogy, so moving from one grade, one position to another. But nowadays, I think people talk much more about career in a more holistic sense, with a focus on how do you build different experiences. And similar to a climbing frame, you might have an idea of where you want to get to, but you might have to move around, maybe move laterally, downwards, upwards, in order to get to where you want to. So the question then for both of you is, what does career mean to you? And what does success at work mean?
Okay, I'll take this one first then. I believe it's a mix between breadth and depth. That it's really important not only to learn about something and really be good at that, so that would be like the depth, but also the breadth, so that you know about different SEUs. So for example, I am aligned to the rotative SEU right now, developing generic models, but for me, like a career framework would be quite interesting to also get to learn about different SEUs, like Mohamed is talking about compressors as well. So yeah, it's a bit a combination of both, and yeah, just learning where you want to be, and as you just said, right? So learning about the different things that will build the knowledge to actually get there. And for me, success would actually be that, getting to where I want to be at some point.
Okay, so you touched on breadth there. So Mohamed, what about for you?
Well, if we look in the recent 10, 15 years ago, the whole career understanding started to change, not in the aerospace industry, but worldwide. And I believe one of this reason, or the main reason, is the accessibility of technology and knowledge. Now we are surrounded by too many different information. I believe 15 years ago, if you need to know a piece of information, you need to travel for it. Now, within 20 seconds, you'll be able to reach. And that is maybe changed us as a human, because we always keen to know more. And that's why we previously, you need 20 years to develop a good skills drawing by hand an engine part. But now you don't need this amount of years to get into this depth. And that's why we tend to choose a different department and moving across, as you said, Laura, not only staying in one position for 20 years, but no, jumping and try to learn different skills. And definitely feed your need of one of the joy of life is to know more. What actually career success means to me, there is no there is no one answer for this question. I believe it is different from one person to another. Maybe some see it as joy, that I do something I really like. Some people are saying as I would like to be in a position of taking decision or have the power of make a difference. I for myself, I see it as a way of a good mixture of both. But I would like to have fun going work because I do something I like, and rather than just do something I have to do. So I look at career from my point of view as something I do because I like. But the most important thing that you wake up Monday morning, go to work, and you know that you will do something different.
I like what you said about the career means different things to different people, because even in both of your answers, you touch on different things. You know, whether it's about the breadth, whether it's about that thirst for knowledge and being able to learn new things, or as you said, kind of being able to come in and have a new challenge each day. But as you say, it's very different and very personal.
And if I can add one thing, if you look at the last 10, 20 years, or 20 years ago, the average changing of your position or career was 1 to 2 times in your whole life.
Yep.
But now it's 10 to 15 times in your career. That means that people are really willing to change, which is, I see something very good.
Yeah,
absolutely. I also agree completely with this challenging spectrum, that to do something that encourages you to keep going and learning new things. I also completely agree on that point.
And Sara, then, one for you. So we talked about that, what does career success look like and what does career even mean? I know both of you earlier in the year had the opportunity to attend one of the programme's sort of take-off career insight days. Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience? So what was it that you did, and what would you say was your sort of takeaway? What was the message that you left from that, or what learning did you take away?
Yeah, so I personally enjoyed that day a lot. I feel it was really well structured. We had time to, learn about different challenges that the company was facing. That I found this really interesting, because at the end, you want to be working at the challenges that the company is facing so that you can have a big impact and learn fast. And, if there's something that has to be fixed tomorrow, it's likely that you're going to be more interested in doing it and seeing the benefit, right? So that bit was really interesting. They had different stands everywhere. One of them was cost, because obviously it's a really important focus nowadays, but we also had other areas really interesting to learn more about, having the opportunity to talk to some experts of those areas and asking them, how do you see career in there? So that was a really interesting thing. And I also really like the fact that a lot of people came to talk. So, for example, the XWB director, and they just said what was their path, what they had been doing since they started at Rolls-Royce up to that point. Quite successful people. Some of them had traveled abroad. Some of them had always stayed in Derby. So you could really see the opportunities. And that there was not like a single answer for everything, like just do this path and you'll be successful. No, like each person has been building it up in a different way. But at the same time, some sort of framework saying, okay, this is what typically could happen and what typically gets you to this position or this other one. So some sort of frameworks. So really, really interesting. We also had the opportunity to get in little groups and talk about, different activities we had to do. That also made you think a lot about your career. And at the end, we had some free time to talk about your IDP, your individual personal development, which I found really interesting. I had started it already. I had done it in the past, but it really getting some sort of training of how to do it properly, what to focus on. And then I took it to my line manager and discussed it further. So everything really interesting, and we could do that in just one day. So really good.
And you talked about the sort of there's no single answer or like a magic recipe for how you get to where you are, and everyone takes different routes. You mentioned though that there'd been a bit of a discussion around maybe there are certain things that might help and supporting to get people to where they want to be. Are you able to share a little bit more in terms of what types of things or tips did you learn along the way?
Yeah, so for example, if you wanted to get to like a management role, so for example a PDM or something like that, they clearly said that, for example, most of the people that have gotten to that position have started in a technical one, and how they move to maybe an IPT leader so that you touch a lot of different things. Then they scaled within that role and finally became a PDM, for example, and after a PDM, a chief of a department, or, they were just examples, but it was some sort of framework of this is what typically people have done. Also showing, so for example, for the IPT leader position, showing as well what are the different department or cross-functional training that you get. That was just an example. There was also the example of cost and how you could build up your knowledge and progress through it. So specifically, as we were talking about cost, so it was more getting to a specialist position and, just building it up, and then from there, management role, or, it depends if you wanted to go very technical or more into management. So, and they had that for the 5 challenges the company has. So, really good to learn it in a holistic way.
Thank you. And Mohamed then, because I was at the session you were in Dalabits a few months ago.
Yeah.
So what was your experience? What were your takeaways?
It was really one of the most interesting 1.5 day we had so far. The amount of different knowledge in the meeting room was quite, I would say, exception to get all the different people in the same room at the same time, just focusing that to deliver their experience and how they develop their career to us, and that was very, very good knowledge transfer, if you would say. One of the things really interested me, that just to go there and listen to the career stories, because behind every successful manager or person, there is a story. And often the story is ups and downs, and this is maybe the area or the main point which really grabbed my interest, that we don't judge on how the person or how he reached it, where the manager is now, but see all the ups and downs. That will gives you an indication that yes, you need to fail to learn how to succeed. The second really thing was to get to know who is doing what, which is probably for me, because I'm kind of relatively new to the company, so I wanted to know who is doing what, not only as a title, but day-to-day activities, which was a big plus for myself, just to know when you plan your career, you just don't say that I want to be an EBT lead. You need to understand what is the role, definition, day-to-day tasks, and so on. Definitely as well, we get to know or to understand the no-growth flow better, and discussing the how to create your own development plan. And as Sara said, that also was a very big chance for us to discuss it, and as well to listen from different experience how to set it correctly, because many people could start, but not everyone would finish with it. It got to have no end, actually. In terms of career stories, I mean, the different discussion were always saying that you need to be flexible in order to achieve your career goal, and maybe that is, I would say, that is the biggest font. If you draw a big word outside of this day, that you need to be flexible, because no one just stayed in one position, reaching all up. You need to go side position sometimes, maybe step to the back, rearrange your thoughts, understand your strengths and weakness, and go forward.
Thank you. So then, two slightly linked questions. What did you do as a result of attending the session? Did it make you then think about doing something or approaching something differently? So Sara, you talked about the IDP bit of then provoking you to think a little bit more about your development plan, having a conversation with your manager. And can you share a bit around what have you both done when it comes to thinking about developing your career? What types of things have you considered? Are there specific sort of support mechanisms that you've used or frameworks?
Yeah, so I think that the slogan I really took away from that day and that they kept saying all over again was like, stop being the passenger of your career and be the pilot. And so for me it was really a matter of thinking, okay, what are the competences I want to get better at and or that I really enjoy doing. For example, one of them was to get a bit more into, dealing with different types of personalities, because it's something I have to deal a lot with nowadays. It's about, talking to different people and asking them to do things, because I always require some sort of input from my customers to develop these generic models or to actually validate them and have them sign off. So, for example, all of this project management and getting to know different people's personalities, and that was one of the things I took in the IBP. So to develop it, I talked it to my manager. I also have a formal mentorship, and it was like a really good thing I took from that day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you talk about that. I like that, the phrase of don't be you're either the pilot or the passenger, and there's lots of different things that you can do, whether mentoring or a development plan, the support. What about for you, Mohamed?
Well, actually, there is more than one point. The biggest thing is, as I said before, be flexible to achieve your career goal. Flexibility is the key. Second thing, maybe don't be afraid to take a side step to your career, which I often see that it is often very healthy for you just to go and take side step, think about what's the next step. Definitely get out of your comfort zone because you need to go and try, fail, do mistakes and learn, and that's what I highlighted before, the ups and downs in the career. Sit down and think about your career plan. That is really one advice I received from one of the participants, and definitely you need to know what's your strengths and weakness and work on it. In addition, you need to go and talk to people for some advice, maybe evaluation. I got a mentor which advised me a lot into how to take the next step, because anyone could participate in such meeting, but what's afterward is the most important thing. And I believe your mentor will be the one who will be able at least to support you going forward.
Okay, thank you. So one final question then, which is, you've both talked a lot about different things you can do and different sort of support frameworks. What would be your top one piece of career advice? So if someone was going to ask you, what would it be that you would share?
For me, it's to really learn what I like to do by having different experiences, so that I can really test myself in different environments and understand what I like. And then once I get that, start working on getting better and better, and just, it is aligned to what Mohamed said as well. It's about being happy at work and being challenged, and with those two things, you can reach the goals that you set that will make you happy and will make you be challenged.
Yeah, and for me, you need to know and understand the skills required for your target next step career. That is important because that's what you need to develop in yourself. You need probably to take some courses, asking your manager to get some more and extra activities supporting you. But if I look, the one piece career advice, actually this was more from one of our colleague, that he said that remind yourself that the goal is not a contract with yourself to be unhappy till you achieve it. Actually, it is a journey, and I really like this one. And I have to say that this word it changed my understanding of career, because I used to be this one person always fighting till you reach your target and so on, but you need to look a bit more career as a journey.
I love it. Okay, well thank you very much both, and thank you for joining me in this virtual pod and doing the podcast.
Thanks, Laura.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much.
Listening, we've also got a number of different career story podcasts that you can check out as well. So hopefully join us next time round. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.